Thank you very much for your time. First of all, can you introduce yourself to viewers of ABC News Ghana and then tell us your involvement in sports?
So, my name is Daniel Nana Adukene. I'm the Member of Parliament for Okere constituency. I've also been part of the sports fraternity. I'm an athlete myself. I used to do long jump and triple jump. In fact, I was at the time, 2008 Gusa Games, I was the second to fire triple jump is concerned. And I also played in the volleyball team for University of Ghana. Um, I graduated as a deputy captain, and so we played volleyball. And after school, I joined the Volleyball Association in Eastern Region. And currently, for the past 15 years, I've been the Eastern Region Volleyball Association chairman. So it was something that was dead. Volleyball was dead in Eastern Region, so we revived it. We've done a lot of development programs and we played the leagues. And I also became a member of the National Volleyball Association. And in fact, I'm the electoral commission for the National Volleyball Association.
Okay.
So yes, I've been in the sports fraternity. I've been engaging in sports actually for the past 30 years, and so for at least for especially lesser known sports, we can speak to it. And so yes, we know Ghana. Everybody loves football, but for us, sports is not just football. Sports. In the olden days, if you look at our records, we've done very well in boxing, we've done very well in athletics, and even currently, you look at the just ended African Games. We did very well, very very well. Now swimming is coming up. About Husseini, who is the Athletics Association chairman, is my mate.
Oh, okay.
And so yes, he's also doing very well. Volleyball is doing well. When it comes to Zone 3, we are the champions for volleyball in Zone 3. We've had so far the best players is concerned, Amano Richard, who's been one of the best players in volleyball for a long time running. So yes, so we have a passion for sports. We believe that sports has a tandem with development beyond the discipline that it brings and the cohesion, the social cohesions, and putting people together. Sports now is business. I believe that if we put our act together and look at our total sports, not just football, we should be able to do well. Kenya is known in the sports fraternity not because of football, but because of its athletes. And so, yeah, so a few thoughts so far as sports is concerned.
So let's look at your contribution to sports. You just took over from the great Dangote, and you're also a youthful man with a lot of energy and exuberance. And we see already what you are doing in the field of parliament. But let's look at your contribution to sports. What have you done so far apart from being an athlete? How will you rate your contribution to sports?
Yeah, so I can say that for the past 10 years, any major player that has come out of Eastern region, so far as volleyball is concerned, we have played a lot of contribution. There were very young guys in our front plates, and over years they used to play and they were just there. We brought volleyball to the doorstep. I've taken volleyball championship, the Southern Sector game to our front place. I took the whole league to our front place. I've taken high level volleyball to our front place twice. And that brought a lot of talent. As we play now, one of the beach volleyball players came from our front place. We've had very good players from our front place. Again, because of the league that we're playing, it became a breeding ground for Greater Accra players. So a lot of these Greater Accra players that you see in the national team, even the females, would have come to the Eastern region, to play in our league and get their footing and then migrate to Greater Accra. So you come to Greater Accra, see a lot of my players here. So so far as talent development is concerned, you look at the Pond area, and I like the Pond team. They used to bring very young people, 14 years, 15 years. They are young talents who then go and develop into. So
On which point do you mean? Eastern
yeah,
region,
Eastern region Pond.
Odumase Pond.
Odumase Pond.
You take players from Pond
Yes.
and
Yes, there's a guy there, he's in immigration masquerade. And he has been developing it. I'm saying that
so volleyball is big in Pond.
yeah, volleyball is big. We are looking at Akosombo Pom, Esuchai. In fact, Dodua used to be part of us. At that time, Hamza, one of the, if you are in the volleyball fan, he will tell you, they all had to come to Eastern region to develop their talent, mature, and then come back to Greater Accra. And so far the volleyball fraternity is concerned, yes, we've developed some young ladies as well. And we also look at the senior secondary school level and pick talent from there and nurture them. And that's where we saw Amano. Amano had played twice with my team. In fact, the first time they beat my team. And that was
Your team being
my team was a Crapping North then.
okay.
And then the second time in their own home grounds at Sojama, we beat them. So that's how these talents are developed. And because you give them a platform, either to an Eastern region, that was no league. So after secondary school, that's it. But we gave them a league and a platform for them to exhibit their talents. And we try to put some few awards and remarks on it. Beyond that, even in governance, myself, together with a member of parliament, and I was a DC. If you look at Okere, there were a private, which was a Dell Sports Stadium. Yeah. That was a private venture of a Dell. But beyond that, we have not seen any major sports facilities there. You've seen the beautiful AstroTurf.
I was about to go to that.
That we brought it. Okay. Currently, through the instrumentality then of the member of parliament, of course, we've seen a sports complex being developed in Ebru, which is not just football, but there's football, there's a multi-purpose court complex, which is for volleyball, basketball, lawn tennis, handball.
Which is different from the one at the...
Yes, different from the one at the...
I think the AstroTurf is the one at the...
The AstroTurf is in Edukrom.
In Edukrom, sorry.
And this is in Ebru.
Okay.
And the ongoing is athletic over. In fact, the whole of Eastern region, if you take out the Kofodia, so which was recently developed, there's no athletic over anywhere. In fact, on the whole Equipment range. And so our weather is also good for culturing of sports, particular athletes. And so once this athletic over is done, that is also going to be a breeding ground to unearthing talent so far as athletics is concerned. And so we've done a sports pump complex, we've done the AstroTurf, and then we support communities with jerseys and footballs, just so they can engage. And during my time, that was the first of its kind. We brought scouts from Finland to come and, unearth talent, and it was great. There are 4 of our guys who have been identified, and they're still working on getting them to second division team that we're looking at. As at now, we working with one of the technical directors of Lisbon to see how we can establish a proper sporting academy. So far as sports is concerned, there's a few things that we have done that we can be able to say at least we've played our dues.
You appear to me as a very good communicator who is forthright with his thoughts. But listening to what you just said, I can't help but reconcile what you said with what you said on the floor of parliament, because now you are speaking about the fact that you groom a lot of talent from the schools. However, on the floor of parliament, you seem to be against President Mahama's school sports authority and project.
Yeah.
What is your problem with that? Because when I looked at it, when I look at the NDC manifesto, I think it was based on 3 things. I think sports infrastructure, sports talent, and then sports governance. And so I think under nurturing of talent, decided that that is a breeding ground for the intercore and the interzo is where a breeding ground for national athletes.
Yeah.
So what is your problem if the government wants to structure that into a more robust sector to improve our talent generation?
So I'm sure you will agree with me that one of the major challenges we have in this country is always circumventing the wheel and reinventing new things. That we don't give things, the institutions, a lifespan. Even for those that have enough lifespan, we have not invested a lot of resources in them for us to even know whether they work or not. We just dream and we bring new things. We dream and we bring new things. Look, we're over the period, and I must say this may be diverse. We have just been playing Chaskele with our educational system. Everybody says I'm moving our education. Everybody comes, new curriculum, new this, new that. We're just playing Chaskele with the whole education system. We all have been to school. There was a milestone where the JHS system came in and all that. But we should allow our institutions to work.
And by that you mean?
By that I mean that the school sports system has a well laid down foundation and a structure. In fact, we are training PE teachers. They have two mandates. They only teach first year students PE, and that is all. The rest is development of talent. That's why we pay them.
But is that done? In your experience, is
That is
that
why
done?
I'm saying that you don't need a new school sports authority to get the talent out. You need rather to give these same established structures resources and they will perform. And I will take myself for instance. I never did any sports when I was in the basic school. It took the senior high school, my PE master then, he's late, Mr. Baffo, and I will listen to them. Then when you get to campus, his job was to train talent and our talent. And he would gather all of us forwards. And then he would, so for 100 meters, everybody, he would do 200 every. And then for some who felt that they were specific, they will indicate, oh no, I want to do 1,005, I want to play this. By the time you leave Form 1, he had identified the talents that he wants. And that is their job. Unfortunately, over time, they've not had the resources. When we were in school, we had the school running shoes. They were there. We had school jerseys, not just one or two. We had school footballs and school facilities, all the way to the university level. In the university, sports is run professionally. There's a whole sports directorate for sportsmen and women. There's a camping systems. There are mini feeding allowances in the universities. I don't know if it still exists now, but during our time, we had feeding coupons if you were part of the school. And in fact, even if you were part of the hall team, you were given feeding coupons. You were given some support. They had this corporate social resource, cowbell, Milo, and all that came. I remember one of my great days in school was in level 300. I never touched a single of my pocket money because I would start from the school coupon from the hall, and just after the hall weeks, hall competitions over, you are in the school team as well. And there's a year cycle. You have the volleyball and then the athletics aspect. And so throughout the whole year, in fact, level 300, I never spent a dime on food because I was taken care of by the school. So what I am saying is that there is an act that the same government in 2016 passed. Yes, they passed the same act. That is what moved the National Sports Council into a National Sports Authority. They have regional directors. They have secretaries to all the associations. Badminton, table tennis, football, athletics, everywhere in the region, they do. Then they have seconded people to their districts. And this National Sports Authority, two main roles. They are supposed to look for some funding and distribute it equitably. And they are supposed to identify, train, both professional and amateur. And it's in the act. So why are we going to create a new school sports authority to rival the National Sports Authority? If you look at the history, from Ohinijan's time and all that, the whole idea of the National Sports Council was to amalgamate all the sporting activities under one umbrella.
You know the challenge with that? A lot of the people I speak to at the sports authority actually say the beginning of their problems, not for political expediency or for political gain, but it was during the running for the 2006 World Cup, because the people I speak to at the NSA say at the time, the GFA, as you said, because they are one of the sporting disciplines, fell under the sports authority. But in the build-up to the 2006 World Cup, now the government dealt directly with the FA instead of the the GFA through the NSA. So then it brought problems, because after that, then all governments sidestepped the NSA and dealt directly with the various federations as well. So then we go back to the whole issue.
But that is the issue I'm saying, that we don't let this. So if we create another school sports authority, and now government will now decide to sidestep the school sports authority, and they will deal with the schools. Sure. You understand?
Okay.
So for organization of the school sports activities, it is there. They are still organized. In fact, this week, as we speak, you saw the euphoria.
Yeah.
Central region, West Ashanti region, and the Eastern region. And I have even seen that because of the euphoria between the Ashanti region and Central region, now there's a special meet for 8 schools, 4 from Central and 4. This is what we're talking about. We didn't need a school sports authority to bring this euphoria. When we were schooling, Milo would always take a championship for some athletics events, some football events, some volleyball events, some basketball. Sprite Coca-Cola came in for basketball. And it was a sought after event. We didn't need a school sports authority to do this. What we actually am saying is that there are PE masters, there are associations of sports teachers who link up with the National Sports Authority to organize school sports. It's the National Sports Authority that helped them to bring their professional referees and all these things. And they are all there. If you go to the school sports, they don't have different referees from the referees we have with the coach team or the referee we have from. It's a course referee and the Division 1 and Division 2 referees who come to supervise them. And the same thing. In fact, if you come to volleyball, they fall under association. Except that most of the volleyball referees are also PE masters. Yes. And so they don't, but they are not there because they are PE masters. They are there because they are professional referees. And it cuts across. What I was proposing is that if we are mindful to develop talent, the system is already in place. Let us strengthen them. Let us give them more resources. And then let us monitor the resources to make sure that we are bringing back. Those days that we were good in boxing, athletics, and all those things, we didn't have a school sports authority. Else, then there are going to be conflicts between the school sports authority and the national sports authority. And then we'll come back to square one, where we had several amateur, we had this, we had boxing somewhere, and then everybody was doing anything anyhow. And then we'll bring them all under one umbrella so that we can develop. There should be the PE masters in this school. Yeah. But there are 2 or 3 PE masters in school. Yes. If you look at how they put them, you have a PE master who is athletic bias. There are some PE masters who are games bias. And that's even that one, sometimes we have people who are into handball, hockey, and all that. And then, of course, the football aspect is there. In fact, even for the football, you have a lot of the teachers who are sports enthusiasts who are into football. And we already know that football system is somehow developed. If we look at the challenges that the FA has, FA and FIFA have some strict rules that talks about interference and non-interference, and what interference is and is not is a thin line. And so, yes, sometimes there's that conflict between the NSA and the FA. But it is because we have allowed it. If you read the act well, it is clear. Yeah. If you want to deal with FA, GFA, deal with the NSA. Yeah. And let the NSA deal with the FAs. And then you see a system that is working. We agree football has taken over, but we are talking about total sports. And for me, if we don't move away from the football sports authority and proper do national sports authority. Look at the competitions. We also don't have competitions enough in this country. We should have the National Day Games. Where are they? We used to look up to it. There was been just one. And that was a long time ago, 2012, 2011. Till date, we've never had any National Day Games. If you see competitions happening, it's just quasi competitions. Why don't you have a national league systems in the other sports? Basketball, handball,
I think
volleyball.
For basketball, there are some
it's quasi.
Regional,
That's why I'm saying that there's activities like volleyball. We have the active regions: Greater Accra, Eastern, Central region, Volta, Oti is coming up, and the North and Ashanti. You don't have all the regions that are very active. But if you are asking for regional representation, it will generate an activity within their regions, because they know that at each year we are looking forward to this activity where we have all the sporting activities happening, including football. And then even the coast team. What's happening with our coast football? It's dying. It's dying.
Well, I think there's been a paradigm shift from coach football to the academy system now. So a lot of the times the players naturally gravitate towards the academic system because they know there's a higher chance of success now in the academic system than the coach system.
But even in Ghana, it is only Ghana that academy is expensive. The academy that is supposed to tap talent and all that. Now you have to go and pay to go to a soccer academy. In my constituency, there's no soccer academy. There's a coach that sustains them. They move motivation to go every evening to train is knowing that by every weekend or every 2 weeks, he is going to be engaged in some competition with the hope that somebody, a coach, will identify him. I remember 2 weeks ago, one of my players from Amanfo called that he had been called for the national under 20 something at Pampram.
Okay.
So he needed some support. We had to support him there. He went there and came back. That hope of training and getting noticed is what we are looking for. But beyond that, there is no national competition anywhere happening. And that is what we're saying. The football's national competition is what we see. But how do we identify the amateurs? It's through the coach system. And I'm saying that it's important we bring back a functional coach soccer. That is what I developed that. Look, Michael Essien was identified in school system. Ask him. You should play in the school setup and also in the court. Let's even take our own, what do we call it? John Pinto. John Pinto was, trained in the Krapimi area. It's the same thing. The school system. Most of these players that we have seen came through the court system or the school system. Stephen Appiah and all those people. So, how many academies do you have in this country? Exactly. We'll get there. But for me, the court system will work.
Let's look at infrastructure, baby, before we wrap up. Infrastructure, because your government boasted of constructing a few astroturfs and also regional centers of excellence. Yeah. The NDC in their manifesto spoke about the fact that they also want to do that. One of the challenges that we realized was that maybe it could have been done better in consultation with either the FA or with the FIFA to see if it could have been done maybe a standard way, meeting FIFA's requirements, so that it could host other maybe GFA or CAF licensee games, so that it reduces the pressure on the main stadia. Yeah. I think I've seen other reports from colleague journalists that some of the astroturfs are already, there's a bit of wear and tear. It's not in good or pristine condition. What do you make of that? And the claim that, or the suggestion that it should have been done in consultation with the FA, so that it could have met at least some use for other games?
Well, I think there are divided opinions on this. I think that the regional resource centers are standardized. They have pitch.
Is the one in Eastern region?
Yeah, there's one in.
Is it functional?
It's functional. It's functional. That was why we had the Independence Day celebration. I had not gone there until the Independence Day, and I saw what has happened. I saw a volleyball court at Purpose and all that. I saw the ovals, and I saw the pitch, and I saw the sitting stands. And I was like, wow, because I knew how Kofodia Sports Stadium was. Of course, we have a culture of maintenance issue. When it comes to the AstroTurfs, they were community-based fields. Most of the places that we construct the AstroTurf.
But you could have held for Division 1 or Division 2 games, at least, so that it doesn't put pressure on the...
Not really. If you look at the AstroTurf, they are enjoyable in the evenings. Because in the daytime...
It's purpose.
Yes. That is why I'm saying that the AstroTurf was a talent development policy. And so what you need is to put it in places that are accessible. And most of these places that are accessible are already community playing fields, which are not standardized back. You understand? I would not even recommend the standardized park for AstroTurf. No, I would not recommend that. And what people even don't know, that it is more expensive doing the grass pitch than AstroTurf.
No, so what I meant was not we could still have done use the astroturf, but maybe the ancillary facilities so that it looks like a mini stadium which can be used for
No, there are a few of the
Division One,
AstroTurf that
Division
have
Two.
sitting. No, there are a few of the AstroTurf that have
But
seats.
sometimes too, then the quality of the pitch also comes into play if it's going to be used for the Division One or Two games. So
But
a
that's why
few
I'm
of them are
saying
being
that.
used.
That's why I'm saying that. Like I said, the concept of the AstroTurf, you should look at the concept before you want to prefer alternatives. We want to develop talent. We cannot develop talent when a child is running on a ball and it hits a stone and it changes directions. A child is running on a ball, it bumps into a small gully and it changes directions. You can't control, you can't do all that. And so sometimes when we are even playing on a better field, it's difficult. The ball will run faster than it ought to. So the whole idea was to give them a feel of quality pitching so that they can develop their skills, control the ball, run with the ball, do whatever it is that they want to do with the ball. And so most of these astroturf are not standard because it was placed in the community and it was for talent development. You don't need standardized areas for talent development. Then there was a second phase, which was the youth resource centers. These were both for talent and standard plays. If you come to, it's not everywhere that you can have.
I don't think all the 10 have been completed.
I doubt. But at least if you look at sports infrastructure, so far as the just immediate past government was concerned, they did very well. They did very, very well, and it is commendable. It's something that we should not play with downplay. I see people playing at 1 a.m. in my constituency. It's amazing. And at that time, ask yourself, where would they have been? They probably would have been doing something else. And it brings people. People walk all the way there, watch the game, and you see the youth people are kept between the hours of from 5:30 p.m. till late. They are kept entertained within that period, and some of them bond. So the usual fights and all that is coming down. Other people come from other towns. I had seen people come all the way from Tema just to enjoy the breeze and all that. So beyond the talent, it's also another way of tourism generation and bringing people together. Now people are doing even, these are African communities. They are trying to turn the astroturf into funeral events and all these things. At least they also provide a very nice environment for some of these things. But for me, the focus was on talent development. I don't think it missed it.
Sure. So, I'll ask you two questions. One on sports, and then we venture into another thing. What will be your expectation of this government for sports for the next 4 years? I know, first of all, you are saying they should forget about the school sports authority idea. What other things do you expect of this government?
Yes. Well, like I said, we expect to see an improved school system. We expect to see the National Sports Day coming back so that all the other competitions, other sports disciplines can have a motivation while they train to look out for the. I expect them to utilize the many sports facilities that have been provided. They have to utilize them and not leave them to rot. The ones that have not been completed ought to be completed. The other area that I expect them to also focus on is to have a paradigm shift from just football sports fraternity to total sports fraternity. And it is only that will let us achieve some of the things. Boxing used to be something that we will all stay late night to watch. Now we've seen some young people coming up and doing very well in boxing. And these are some of the things that we do. So for me, one, like I said, total sports shifting from the football aspect, schools, soccer and school sports with infrastructure and facilities and resources being pushed into that area. And let's try the institutions. National Sports Council or National Sports Authority has not been put to test since 2016 that it was enacted. And I think that we should put it to test and see how we gain some dividends from it.
Okay. Now, from sports, which committee are you on for this?
I am on the business committee and then the committee for foreign affairs and
Great.
international integration.
I was looking for somebody on the Foreign Affairs Committee to speak to. So you are a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament.
Yes.
Let's look at President Mahama's first 60 days in office and his foreign policy. Usually, Ghanaian foreign policy is hinged on good neighborliness, neutrality. But our sub-region or immediate neighbors, Burkina Faso, are not a democratic regime. And the Ivorians also in themselves have their own thing going on. The Togolese also have their own world. We seem to be the beacon of hope in sub-Saharan Africa. What do you make of the president's travels around the sub-region, his pronouncements on our foreign policy?
Well, like you have, Ghanaians are non-aligned. So yes, we are democratic, and we have held the democratic flag in sub-Saharan Africa, and we pride ourselves so much. We should not be seen to be making concessions to people who come to power through a non-democratic means. And for us, we see that happening. Under no circumstance should we, entertain people who have come to power through undemocratic means, more especially coup d'etats. So I am not so enthused, especially when we seem to be, having kids' glove with them. However, I don't see anything wrong with him going around, because it's important. It's a good neighborliness tour to get acquainted with your neighbors, to get to understand them, and for them to also understand you, and then make sure that you are protecting your borders and all that. So that some of the things that you don't, it's not good, you don't allow it into, coming into the country. So for me, I have no problem with he visiting the neighborliness, but except that there seems to be a certain seeming affiliation with people who have come to power undemocratically. I don't want to say that because of the roots of where the political party is coming from. I don't want to go that angle, but it's important that we get the facts well and state that Ghana, and in fact, Ghana as a leader and a beacon of hope for democracy. It's amazing, this Fourth Republic, how many presidents that we've come. And even anytime we're going for elections, there's so much heightened tensions. We finish our elections and let's count because of the leaders that we have. And we shouldn't take it for granted. And so we should not be seen be promoting people who have come to power through undemocratic means.
Did you listen to the president yesterday when he was in Ouagadougou?
No, I'm not yet.
So he seemed to be making the point that after engaging the Burkinabe and the other military leaders, and after engaging some of the democratically elected leaders, he was beginning to see that there seemed to be a bridge of mistrust. And so, as if to say, at the next meeting with the democratically elected leaders, he would seem to bring to the fore the misgivings of the military leaders. What do you make of that?
Well, I would save my comments so that I can listen to him carefully. Except that for me, like I said, if there's a military takeover, before you engage, there should be a clear timelines for handing over of power to the democratic elected person. We have His Excellency George Rawlings of late story, where people have come through the military and then transition into democracy. So nothing prevents those people, if they think they are so popular and that they are done well and their people have a trust in them, to contest for an election. Because look, we cannot, beyond democracy, what else? We cannot be in the strongest survives kind of jungle. We live in a governed society with rules, and I think that anybody must play by the rules. If you are frustrated, use the rule to send your frustration. And I believe that if what you're saying is anything to go by, then fine. We think that once he's engaging, there should also be an engagement of a clear timelines where these undemocratically elected leaders would hand over power to democracy. I don't mind. You can have a presidency in France. They used to have their term of office used to be about 7 or 8 years. It got reduced to 5 years and all this. So even those who had long term are reducing their term. It is coming to stay that the 4 years is becoming the norm. People may have their own dissent, but unfortunately for me at this time, I think the 4 year tenure is good. So that you have a good 4 year, we reward you with another 4 year. If you don't have a good 4 year, we don't have to wait for long years. Then we bring in another person. We have seen President Mahama himself suffer some humiliating defeat.
And then your government also suffered.
And then he had come back
You're missing your
on the
government.
second time and he won overwhelmingly. That is the beauty of democracy. Imagine that somebody had come in with a coup. Would he be able to come back now?
No. All right. Thank you very much for your
My
time.
pleasure.